Heartwarming discovery. Millionaire rushes to save little girl exposed after her mother's funeral. The news buzzed through the small Midwestern town like wildfire, igniting whispers and sparking interest. Lily, Sarah's 10-year-old daughter, stood at the edge of the cemetery, clutching a wilted daisy as her mother's casket was lowered into the ground. Sarah had been the heart of their community, a fierce working-class warrior who served up more than meals at the local diner. She served hope, warmth, and love. Without her, the town felt heavy, like a storm cloud hanging over their heads. But just when despair threatened to eclipse their spirits, a millionaire named Nathan stumbled upon an article detailing their struggle. Months passed, and life without her mother was a challenge that left Lily anxious and alone. With each day, the laughter that once filled their home faded bit by bit. After school, she often found herself at the community center, dodging shadows of uncertainty. It was there that the volunteers welcomed her with open arms and warm hearts, reassuring her that she wasn't alone. They became her makeshift family, gathering around her on tough days, helping ease her worries with games and snacks. Yet deep down, fear gnawed at her since financial burdens loomed large. It felt like the world was pulling her in all directions, and she longed for the comfort that only her mother had provided. When Nathan arrived shortly afterward, he was met with skeptical eyes and hushed murmurs. He was out of place, a lone figure who appeared to be from another planet, his designer clothes whispering of wealth and privilege, while the townsfolk wore their hardships like badges. But fueled by conviction and guilt over his own estranged family, Nathan dove into action. He wanted to advocate for Lily, push for a scholarship fund, anything to make life a bit easier for her. Standing at the town hall, he spoke passionately. This girl deserves every chance. She's loved and cherished just as anyone else. Money shouldn't define her worth. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The room went silent, the air thick with tension. Lily, perched on her seat, felt the weight of Nathan's words wrap around her heart like a warm blanket. But the murmurs of doubt clawed at her hope. Could a millionaire really care? Did he even understand what it meant to live without? As the hours droned on, Nathan navigated the barrage of doubt thrown his way, each challenge reinforcing his resolve. Yet the division simmered just beneath the surface, a stark reminder that trust wasn't freely given, especially not when it hung on a precipice of economic divide. As the meeting drew to a close, uncertainty loomed large. A grieving girl and a reclusive millionaire, together in a world that didn't quite want them both. Would the town's heart soften enough for them to find a way forward? Could love challenge the invisible lines drawn by wealth and hardship? Lily's small hands trembled, but a flicker of hope ignited within her. The question buzzing at the edge of her thoughts was clear. Could this stranger really become her ally and perhaps mend a broken community? Lily walked home that evening, the sky painted in hues of orange and purple as the sun dipped below the horizon. Despite the beauty surrounding her, her heart felt heavy, weighed down by doubt. She glanced at the town squares where kids played, their laughter echoing through the air like a distant melody she was no longer a part of. Every step she took was an echo of her mother's absence, and it stung. Nathan, on the other hand, lingered at the town hall, tossing around ideas in his mind. He had faced much adversity himself, but nothing compared to the hollow look he saw in Lily's eyes today. She needed more than just promises, she needed tangible hope. He pulled out his phone and scrolled through his contacts until he found the number of his old friend, Tony, a local businessman who was always eager to give back. You could call him a community man, someone who had deep roots in this ailing town and cared deeply about its people. Tony? It's Nathan. I need your help, he said, urgency piercing the calm of their usual banter. He outlined his vision for a scholarship fund, something that could support Lily and kids like her. He could feel Tony's skepticism even through the line but powered through. This town needs a bridge between its pain and possibilities. We need to find a way to give kids like Lily the future they deserve. Meanwhile, at home, Lily sat at her kitchen table, pushing her peas around her plate, the familiar smell of her mother's cooking a bittersweet reminder of what she lost. She barely noticed her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, peering through the kitchen window. The woman had been a constant, baking cakes and canning jams, always saying, "You're part of my family now, sweetheart." But the words didn't wrap around Lily like the embrace she craved. Instead, they felt like a band-aid over a wound that refused to heal. The next day, as whispers about Nathan's meeting circulated, Lily found herself at the community center again, a place that felt increasingly alien to her. The usual laughter faded into hushed tones, keeping her at arm's length. A few familiar faces smiled warmly, but the uncertainty hung around them like a fog. With the looming decision about whether or not to trust Nathan, Lily stepped outside for fresh air, the sun breaking through the clouds, giving her a moment's reprieve. Standing behind the center, she took deep breaths, deliberately drawing in the cool, crisp air. Just then, she spotted Nathan heading her way, an unexpected smile on his face. "Hey, Lily," he called out, his voice brightening the shadows that surrounded her. "Do you have a moment? I want to talk to you about something important." She hesitated. This was the man everyone was talking about, the one that stirred both hope and resentment in equal measure. But there was something in those gentle eyes that made her heart leap, even if she didn't fully understand why. As he approached, a thought flickered in her mind. Could he be the ally she desperately needed or just another disappointment? "Lily," he began, kneeling to meet her at eye level. "I know things have been tough, but I want to help. I believe we can create something special together." Before she could respond, his words hung in the air like a delicate promise, reaching into the quiet corners of her heart. What partnership could possibly blossom from their unlikely bond? Just then, a sudden commotion erupted from the community center. Voices raised in anger, fiery and discordant. Nathan's expression shifted, concern replacing hope. "What's going on?" he asked, glancing toward the growing crowd. Lily's heart raced. What now? The stakes had changed, and the path ahead looked even murkier. Would this chaos turn the town against them, or would it give rise to unity in their darkest hour? The answer lingered in the uncertain air, a new challenge waiting to unfold. The air buzzed with tension as the voices from the community center grew louder. Lily instinctively took a step back, her heartbeat quickening at the sight of a mix of familiar faces, each showing an array of emotions: frustration, outrage, confusion. She could hardly make out the words, but the tone was unmistakable. Something important was at stake. Nathan lifted his chin, scanning the crowd. "Let us find out what's happening," he suggested, a hint of determination in his voice. He took a few steps toward the center, motioning for Lily to follow. She was torn. The pull of curiosity wrestled with the weight of dread. But something about Nathan's presence gave her a fragile sense of courage. As they approached, the scene unfolded before them. At the heart of the commotion stood a teenage boy, his face flushed with anger, shouting over the crowd. "We deserve better than this. You can't just decide our future without listening to us." A few murmurs surged through the group, reflecting the sentiments brewing in many hearts. It turned out the community wasn't just reacting to Nathan's proposal for a scholarship fund. They were skeptical of any top-down approach to shaping their children's futures. They wanted to be involved. Lily's gaze darted between Nathan and the boy, whose voice rang out like a clarion call. It was a reminder that perhaps she wasn't alone. Others were struggling, too, grappling with the same fears and insecurities. What if, instead of feeling isolated, they pooled their voices, together fighting for change? Nathan stepped forward into the growing crowd, his demeanor steady. "I know change is daunting," he began, his voice firm yet compassionate. "But this idea is about you, about giving our kids opportunities to dream and achieve. I want to hear what you think." The boy stared at Nathan, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "You think we're just going to trust you? This community has seen enough hasty decisions made without our input." Lily could feel the tension, a palpable weight hanging in the air. She stepped forward slightly, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. But what if this could be our chance? If we come together as a community, we can shape this fund into something that truly reflects our needs. Nathan genuinely wants to help. He doesn't want to do this alone. As her words floated into the throng, silence fell for a moment. A ripple of surprise spread among the crowd as they turned their attention to Lily. She hadn't intended to speak, but deep down, a small flame of hope flickered. It was her mother's voice urging her to stand tall, to fight against the silence that had imprisoned her since her loss. The teenage boy locked eyes with her, then turned back to Nathan. If you want our trust, let us get everyone involved in this. We have ideas and dreams just like you. Nathan nodded. Absolutely. Let us create a meeting, a space for dialogue. We can draft something together, weaving everyone's aspirations in. Faint murmurs of agreement flowed through the crowd, the energy beginning to shift. Hope blossomed like spring flowers after a long winter, blossoming against the odds. Lily felt warmth pulse through her, a connection, a unity that had eluded her for so long. Nathan caught her eye and smiled, that same bright smile that had ignited something within her earlier. They were forging a path out of the chaos, one step at a time. But would the community really unite with them? As the crowd grew quieter, she could hear snippets of conversations igniting in support of change, but a question nagged at her core: what if their unity crumbled before it ever took shape? The air felt electric, charged with possibilities. Just as Lily thought they might inch closer to something beautiful, a girl's frightened scream pierced through the discussions, jolting everyone back to reality. What now? Would the ties that started to bind them together unravel under this new threat? The scream shattered the fragile hope that had begun to weave through the crowd, plunging the atmosphere into chaos. Eyes darted in every direction as people turned, their expressions shifting from curiosity to alarm. Nathan's brow furrowed, and without a second thought, he rushed toward the source of the commotion. Lily followed, her heart racing, but not just from fear. Adrenaline surged through her veins, pulling her forward, compelled to act. They reached a small circle of people clustered around a girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, her face streaked with tears, a teddy bear clutched tightly to her chest. She looked lost, a vulnerable island in a storm of shouts and whispering. The boy who had earlier voiced his anger was kneeling beside her, his voice low and comforting, trying to calm her. "What happened?" Nathan asked, kneeling beside them. Lily could see the boy's hands trembling slightly as he spoke. "I lost my mom," the girl stammered, her voice cracking. "She was supposed to pick me up after school," but then her words broke off, her little face crumpling as fresh tears came. The boy's expression turned to one of fierce determination. "We'll find her. We'll get her back," he declared, though the uncertainty in his voice gave away his doubt. Nathan looked back at the crowd, trying to gather their focus. "Everyone! Can we form a line? We need to search the area. Look for any signs of her mother," he shouted, his voice slicing through the murmurs. Slowly, people began to respond, moving as if pulled by a shared purpose, a collective heartbeat ignited by desperation. Lily's heart ached as she knelt beside the girl, brushing a stray hair from her tear-stained face. "What was her name?" she asked softly, hoping to bring some comfort. "Jessica. She's always late because she works a lot," the girl whispered, and just then, Lily saw a flicker of hope fighting against the despair in her eyes. "Okay, Jessica," Lily said, her voice soothing and steady. "You've got a whole community out here that wants to help. Let us focus on finding her, all right?" It was a quiet, powerful statement, an unspoken promise that they wouldn't be alone. As the crowd spread out, Nathan stayed by her side, determination etched on his face. "Lily, are you okay?" "I will be," she whispered back, though her insides twisted with fear. "But we have to find her mom." Moments stretched like eternity while they searched, calling out the name Jessica that echoed back to them. The crowd steadily fanned out, voices slicing through the air, each shout sparking a glimmer of hope. Just then, a frantic older woman raced toward them, breathless, her eyes wide, hair disheveled. "Jessica!" she cried, and Lily's stomach flipped. The crowd halted. This was the face they had been hoping for. But then the unexpected happened. The community surrounding them didn't rush toward the woman. Instead, they stepped back, giving them space. It was as if time slowed. Lily watched as Jessica's face lit up with recognition, a beacon amidst the storm. The girl dashed forward, arms outstretched, and squished against her mother's waist. Tears streamed down the woman's cheeks, relief flooding her features as she scooped Jessica up, holding her close, reveling in the reunion. Yet, while the crowd erupted in applause and cheers, a strange heaviness settled in Lily's heart. A deep-rooted fear surfaced. If this bond could grow so strong in devastation, could it shatter just as quickly if faced with something else? Suddenly, the teenage boy turned to Nathan, his expression clouded with concern. "What now? We can't just go back to normal after this, can we?" Lily turned, meeting Nathan's gaze, knowing they had ventured into something deeper than funding now. They had tapped into a well of emotions, and their community was fragile yet fierce, longing for connection. Would this experience galvanize them further, or would it leave invisible fractures in the surface of their newfound unity? As she watched the embrace unfold, a stirring sense of urgency gripped her. What would they do next, when the echoes of this moment faded and the real challenges loomed closer? The crowd's noise faded into a distant hum as Lily's thoughts churned. She watched the mother hold her daughter tightly, her heart aching at the bittersweet sight. The cheers felt hollow when juxtaposed with the gravity of the moment. Everyone had come together to celebrate the recovery of one child, yet, lurking beneath the surface was a truth that gnawed at her. How many other painful stories lay hidden in their midst? Nathan's voice pulled her back. "We should organize something, a way to make sure everyone feels connected. This can't just be a one-time thing." Lily nodded, grateful for his clarity. "What if we set up regular community gatherings? Something that strengthens our ties, not just when there's a crisis." The words spilled out before she could stop them, but they felt right. They needed to harness this fragile unity, nurture it like a seed that could bloom with care. The boy who had comforted Jessica stepped closer, his eyes brightening at the thought. "Yeah. We could do potlucks, family game nights, anything. People want to be part of something." A few others began to chime in, throwing out suggestions and ideas, each voice adding to the vibrant tapestry they were weaving. There was laughter now, mingling with what was once despair, as plans started to form. Yet in the midst of the rising excitement, a shadow flickered in Lily's mind. She thought of the pain that connected their community. These gatherings could highlight the fractures, exposing vulnerabilities they would rather keep hidden. Would the joy last? Or would their shared moments only serve as temporary distractions from the underlying struggles? Just then, a flicker in Nathan's eyes caught her attention. "Lily," he said, intensity sparking in his voice, "you remember the old community center? We could renovate it, make it a safe space." Lily smiled, emboldened by Nathan's enthusiasm. "Imagine a place where families can gather any time, where kids can play, and adults can connect," she replied, picturing the transformation. "We could even host classes on budgeting or emotional wellness. Real tools for real lives." The holistic idea resonated with the group, igniting conversations. People exchanged numbers and formed small committees on the spot, driven by a genuine desire to contribute. As hope began flooding back into the atmosphere, the sunlight seemed to pierce through the gray clouds, illuminating their determination. But as the day progressed, a sense of urgency lingered in the back of Lily's thoughts. How would they fund this dream? The idea of applying for grants felt daunting. And what if they failed without the support they needed? At that moment, she spotted Jessica and her mother standing on the fringe of the gathering, joy evident but still fragile. The little girl clutched her teddy bear tight, glancing up at her mother, who seemed momentarily lost in thought. "What if we launched a community fundraiser?" the boy suggested, breaking into her internal spiral. "We could do a fun run, something to get everyone involved. We can publicize it, reach out to local businesses." Lily felt the energy in the air shift again. A sense of purpose boldly swelled within the group. As they brainstormed, a new fear crept into Lily's heart. Would they all stand together not only during moments of crisis but also during the daily grind of life? In those quieter moments, when no screams echoed for attention, would the bond hold steady? As they continued planning, a voice from the back rang out, catching everyone's attention. How do we even know we can trust each other? What happens when the next storm hits? The air thickened with unease, a wave of uncertainty crashing over their newfound momentum. Lily looked at Nathan, who met her gaze with concern. They were moments away from finding out if their community could truly unite for more than just one joyful reunion. Would love and compassion hold them steady as they faced these unnerving challenges ahead? What if, instead of drifting apart, they could grow stronger? In that moment, Lily resolved to embark on this journey, but she couldn't ignore the looming question: was it enough to trust each other, or would real change require something deeper? Trust? The word lingered in the air, heavy and foreboding, as all eyes turned to the speaker. A woman in her late 50s, her voice edged with skepticism, sat perched on a folding chair. We see each other at events, we trade pleasantries, but when it counts, will we really show up? Lily felt a knot form in her stomach. It was a valid question. She shared a quick glance with Nathan, whose expression mirrored her unease. They had taken steps towards unity, but the real test was yet to come. I understand your concern, Lily began, steadying her voice. But look at us right now. We're here, sharing ideas, and wanting to do better. She gestured to the small crowd before her, their faces a mix of hope and skepticism. We can't wait for a disaster to pull us together. We need to foster this connection every day. The woman raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. And what about the pain? The real hurt we've all felt? You think we can just forget that by throwing a party? Another voice chimed in, this one softer yet passionate. No one is suggesting we forget. We need to acknowledge the pain and support one another through it. A young man leaned forward, his hands gripping the edge of his chair. We can use this pain to fuel something greater. I assent that what we're here for? The room buzzed with murmurs, voices colliding in a blend of support and dissent. It was as if a tidal wave of emotion surged around them. Suddenly, Jessica's mother stepped forward, holding her daughter's hand. You're right, she said, her voice trembling but firm. It's about both. She looked at Lily, her eyes glimmering with unshed tears. I can't promise I have the strength every day. But seeing this group come together, it makes me want to try. For Jessica. Lily felt a warmth spread through her chest. Here was the spark. Exactly. We don't need to have it all figured out. We just need to start, and be willing to help one another along the way. The crowd began to resonate with her message. Heads nodded, more voices chimed in. The air throbbed with something invigorating, a renewed spirit that breathed life into their plans. As they brainstormed more ideas, Lily couldn't shake the shadow of doubt that lingered. She looked around, eyeing faces brightening with ambition, yet tinged with worry. Could they really keep this momentum alive in the quiet moments? The young boy who had first suggested potlucks raised his hand again. What if we reach out to businesses for sponsorship? They might help fund a center if we show them we care about our community. Lily smiled warmly, inspiration surging through her. Yes. And we can host community cleanup days, workshops, and invite everyone to participate. We'll create visibility and trust. Nathan chimed in with renewed zeal, and we can share stories. Real experiences. That's how we connect. Let us try to share both our victories and our struggles. A ripple of agreement swept through the room. Encouraged voices began to build a foundation for trust, one simple story at a time. But just as the meeting reached a hopeful crescendo, another voice echoed through the crowd. Hold on. What if someone shares a story that stirs up old wounds? Will we be ready for that? Lily's heart raced. The candidness was brave, yet it opened a door she wasn't sure how to navigate. Would revealing these deeper layers fortify their bond or shatter it? In that moment, an idea struck her. Maybe we should create a space for sharing as part of our gatherings. A designated time where we can listen, heal, and uplift each other, however heavy the burdens. Nods of agreement followed, but doubt still hovered like a dark cloud. Lily took a deep breath, resolving to address the fears head-on. She knew they were stepping into uncharted territory, but wasn't that the essence of growth? What would they discover as they peeled back the layers of their community, exposing the scars together? Would they be strong enough to face the truth, or would it push them apart? With every heartbeat, Lily felt the stakes rise. Change was coming, and she wondered if they were truly ready. In that charged air, the question loomed larger: would the bravery of their vulnerability turn out to be a blessing or a curse? An unexpected hush fell over the room, the weight of the unsaid hanging like a delicate thread. And then, like a match striking flame, the young boy that had initially suggested the potluck spoke up again. If we are going to share stories, we should start with something light. Maybe we can do an icebreaker. Get everyone laughing first? Lily blinked, the tension breaking at the corners of her mouth. It didn't dissolve completely, of course, but it was enough to show that not every moment had to be steeped in sorrow. That's a great idea. Humor can be a powerful way to connect. It builds a bridge. Nathan took it a step further. Let us create an open mic, where anyone can come up and share a funny or embarrassing story. Something that lightens the mood. The crowd perked up, smiles breaking over tired faces. Reluctant laughter resounded in pockets around the room. People started sharing their versions of awkward moments, raising hands to speak. A memory of that time the grocery store had run out of his favorite cereal, and he had dramatically staged a protest in the aisle. Another about the mishap with a baby shower balloon that had flown away, making everyone laugh even harder than anticipated when it popped. As the stories spilled out, laughter became a coiled rope that drew them closer together. It ripped through the tension, patching the open wounds as they shared their light-hearted follies. But beneath that laughter, a deeper purpose simmered. Lily could feel it in her bones. The shared laughter was a thread tethering them to one another, a reminder that they could find joy even amid their currents of pain. Perhaps this was how they would heal. The wide-eyed curiosity of the younger children in the room added another layer to the atmosphere. They giggled from the sides, occasionally interrupting adult stories with their innocent observations. Lily observed a little girl leaning against her mother, her laughter rolling like gentle waves. Each chuckle seemed to lighten the hearts around her, filling the room with warmth. Just as the laughter reached its peak, Jessica's mother rose quietly, the sneaking worry creeping back into the room. The laughter faded, leaving a soft silence. "I appreciate that we can share laughter," she began, her voice more steady than it had been earlier. "But what if we stumble into something else? Something darker? Will we really be able to keep it together?" The atmosphere crackled again, twisting into a layered tension. Lily's heartbeat quickened. It was the same fear that had washed over her earlier, the worry that these stories could plunge too deep and cause more pain than healing. Yet, a part of her believed they could forge a path through those fears. She stepped closer to Jessica's mother. "We can guide it, I promise. We'll pave a way for both laughter and tears, the light and the dark. Each story can be both a memory to treasure and a reminder to honor those who aren't with us anymore. We're here to listen. That's our power." The room hummed with agreement again, but a more layered emotion hovered, something between new connections and old wounds. Lily felt a thread pulling at her heart. This was more than just community work now. It was about rebuilding, re-establishing bonds that had frayed. Would these moments of vulnerability and laughter help forge something more durable? Could they turn into the family they needed but had lost? The challenge ahead felt insurmountable, yet she caught glimmers of hope everywhere. As the meeting drew to a close, Lily looked out at the sea of faces, vibrant and troubled and hopeful all at once. "Next time we gather, let us all bring our stories light and dark. We will open the space in a way that feels safe. Together we will rise." But even as she said those words, uncertainty flickered in her mind. Could they really embrace the darkness without being overwhelmed? That question loomed heavy as everyone began to leave. It was a start. But would it truly lead them toward healing, or would they find themselves lurking in the shadows of their pain again? With every step she took toward the exit, Lily felt the weight of her task. Change was brewing, but was she ready for what was coming next? The next meeting came sooner than Lily anticipated. As the room filled, a tapestry of emotions quilted itself anew: anticipation, anxiety, and that underlying hope swirling in the air. Did they all feel it? That mixed sense of dread and excitement for what was to come? Lily stood at the front, her heart thumping in rhythm with her thoughts. "Welcome back, everyone," she called out, trying to infuse energy into her voice. "I see so many familiar faces. It's beautiful, truly." As people settled into their seats, she noticed Jessica's mother sitting hard on the edge, her fingers twisted, partly a signal of her own inner turmoil. The little girl beside her was bubbling with cheer, unaware of the storm brewing in her mother's heart. Lily took a breath, steadying herself. "Today, we're here in the spirit of storytelling and sharing what we keep tucked away inside. Remember, it is all okay. What we share binds us together. Every story matters." Slowly, hands began to rise. A middle-aged man spoke about a cherished family reunion that went hilariously wrong when wrong directions turned a simple barbecue into a trip through the wilderness. Laughter erupted, sparked by his self-deprecating humor. Jessica's mother watched, her expression a mix of yearning and apprehension, as if she wanted to laugh but felt anchored by a heavy chain. At the same time, Lily was aware of her own pulse quickening, a knot tightening in her stomach. They hadn't yet reached the place where tears would spill and hearts would break, but she could sense the oncoming tide. One by one, people shared light stories, but each laugh seemed like clever camouflage, hiding deeper wounds beneath the surface. With each funny moment came a fleeting attempt to escape. The shadows in their histories were waiting to be acknowledged. Then Nathan stood, the boy who first sparked the idea. "I want to share too." He looked around, and with a voice steady for his age, he began. 3 weeks ago, my cat disappeared." As he recounted his search, his earnestness captured everyone's attention. It became not just a story about a missing cat, but a powerful metaphor for loss and longing. He talked about how he felt, how he feared he had lost a piece of joy. Instead of laughter, tears glimmered in the eyes of many, wrapped up in their own stories of what it meant to yearn. Lily felt electricity course through the room. They were crossing over to the dark side, that place where hurt lingered. She hesitated. Would this be the moment things crumbled? Would they shatter under the weight of pain? But Nathan continued on, navigating through his own tenderness with a surprising strength. But the best part was that when he finally came back, it was like finding a part of myself again. It was like the dark was never too strong because love always brings light. The atmosphere shifted. The truth washed over everyone like a gentle rain, reviving the roots that had been struggling in the parched soil of their experiences. A lightness emerged, and with it, a connection woven through shared vulnerability. Jessica's mother finally spoke, her voice thick. "It's hard to face these things, but sometimes it takes this connection to remember we're not alone in all of this." Lily felt her throat tighten. A wave of vulnerability swept through the room. A response flooded up from the depths of her heart. "Yes, it is hard. But it's also a testament to how much we love. Love doesn't shy away from darkness. It learns to grow amidst it." As emotions surged and stories flowed, Lily realized they had taken a beautiful turn together. For the first time, she felt their community shifting. They were finding a way to embrace the complexity of their lives, laughter intertwined with tears, light embracing the shadows. But just as that sense of connectedness began to settle, a presence filled the doorframe. A figure stood, silhouetted in the light beyond. Faint whispers flickered through the room, curiosity igniting questions. Who was it? The energy shifted once more, anticipation flooding back. It was clear, the next chapter awaited. Who would walk in through that door, and what impact would they have? The room fell silent, all eyes drawn to the figure in the doorway. A gasp rippled through the crowd, the air thick with surprise and uncertainty. A tall man, clad in a tailored suit that seemed a touch too formal for the setting, stepped into the room. His face was familiar to some, an image seen in the tabloids and whispered in coffee shops. It was David Marshall, local philanthropist and millionaire, known for his lavish parties but also his staggering generosity. What is he doing here? whispered someone from the back, while the murmurs escalated, the undertones mixed with disbelief and curiosity. Lily's heart raced. She had seen David at charity events, but this was a different atmosphere entirely. This wasn't a glitzy gala. This was raw and real, a crucible for healing. She held her breath, wondering if he could grasp the gravity of what had been unfolding. "Hi everyone," David's voice cut through the tension, smooth yet slightly shaky. "I apologize for interrupting. I just heard what was happening and felt I needed to come." He paused, scanning the room as if searching for something. Then his gaze landed on Jessica and her mother. "Jessica!" he called, stepping forward. Jessica's mother flinched, her hands unwrapping from their anxious grip. "What are you doing here?" Her voice barely concealed a mix of anger and bewilderment. It was clear this was not a welcome visit. David hesitated but then continued, his voice becoming steadier. "I found out about your loss." He faltered slightly, a complex emotion crossing his face. "I had to meet you. To help." The room's energy shifted again, confusion swirling like a whirlwind. "Help?" Jessica's mother echoed, her tone laced with skepticism. "Help how?" "I know it seems like I'm just a stranger," he replied, his hands open in a gesture of sincerity. "But I've been where you are. I lost someone to my sister, a long time ago. It devastated me, and I want to support you if you need it. I can't bring her back, but I can offer a scholarship for Jessica or help with expenses. Anything you need." Jessica's mother took a step back as if the words had stung. Behind her, Jessica, still blissfully unaware, clutched her stuffed unicorn. The wind had changed direction, and Lily felt the weight of the moment settle heavily on her chest. David took another step forward, his eyes pleading. "Please let me help you carry the burden. I can't pretend to understand your pain, but I want to be here for you. I wanted to connect, to show you you're not alone in this world." Lily watched emotions shift in the room. Some were open with skepticism, others filled with hope. A few tears fell silently. She could sense the vulnerability opening up. In this unexpected moment, they found themselves at a crossroads, mistrust or the possibility of something new and healing. Then, subtly, she felt the room pulse with desperation. Jessica's mother was torn, battling her own skepticism and the possibility of relief. After all, taking help was often harder than giving. "Why now?" Jessica's mother asked, her voice quavering, revealing her heart's raw edge. "Why didn't you come before?" David sighed deeply, the weight of the world resting on him. "Because sometimes it takes a love that's lost to remind us of the love that needs to come. I was afraid, unsure of my place in this." Just then, Nathan spoke up, the wisest voice of the group. "Sometimes it takes a stranger to see what we can't." He turned toward everyone, his sincerity radiating. "It's okay to let someone in. It doesn't mean forgetting, it means moving forward." As a wave of contemplation washed over the group, Lily felt the tension bubbling, hovered at a pivotal moment. Would they embrace this new opportunity for connection or shut it away in fear? With a lump in her throat, she glanced back at the door, almost expecting someone else to walk in, someone who might tip the scales one way or another. Questions raced through her mind. Could David's sudden appearance truly create change, or would it unravel everything they had built so far? The light from the doorway flickered again behind David, making her wonder if there was yet another surprise ready to emerge. Who else might step forward to transform this moment? David's presence hung heavy in the air, drawing the focus of every heart in the room. His proposition swirled like a gust of wind, stirring up emotions previously tucked away. The community found itself grappling with an unexpected glimmer of hope wrapped in uncertainty. Would they allow a stranger's good intentions to pierce their tight-fisted skepticism? Jessica's mother seemed caught between worlds. With a deep breath, she finally spoke. "I appreciate your offer, David. But trust is paper-thin in times like these." Her voice quivered, and Lily noticed Jessica's innocent gaze darting between the adults, sensing the undercurrents. "Trust is hard," David acknowledged, his eyes earnest and unwavering. "But it's also a choice. I'm here to offer something tangible, something to help the girl who needs it most. Maybe we could look for a way to harness all this energy into something real for our community." Lily could see heads nodding in consideration, the ripples of wariness mingling with budding hope. Perhaps David was the catalyst they needed, the final piece that connected their shared pain to a vision of progress. As the questions hung in the air, Nathan stepped up, his youthful voice commanding attention. "What if this became a partnership? If we could find a way to integrate what you're offering, David, with what we've been building here? Open forums where everyone can voice their needs. Fundraising events that bring together the talents of this community, all focused on strengthening not just one child, but all of us." A collective murmur of agreement blossomed. With Nathan's vision, an electric vitality ignited the room once more. Perhaps they could truly create something together, light and dark in harmony. Lily felt the warmth of camaraderie begin to grow. "That's precisely it," she added, her heart racing. "David, you can help us amplify our efforts, but it needs to come from the community's heart. Each voice matters. We want to be part of the solution, not just the recipients." Jessica's mother's gaze softened, finally meeting David's. "If you are willing to listen, to learn and work alongside us, then maybe, just maybe, we can create a bridge." There was a palpable shift in David's demeanor. It was as if a weight of sadness lifted just a little. "I would be honored," he responded, his presence now blending with their collective vulnerability. As talks of gatherings and fundraisers filled the air, a new rhythm took shape, one that felt more like a symphony of community than a competition of individual needs. Plans kicked into motion, fostering an excitement that ricocheted off walls, lives intertwining like threads in a vibrant tapestry. Each newfound friendship wove in laughter, struggles, shared meals, and open dialogues, cultivating growth where there had once only been fear. They committed to one another. On a warm Saturday, families gathered for the first community potluck, the air rich with aromas, echoing bursts of laughter and excitement. Joy radiated, invigorated by shared stories and laughter, the children weaving through tables, shiny new friendships forming. But as the event unfolded, a familiar tug in Lily's heart reminded her that the journey was not without challenges. They still had work to do, deeper wounds to mend. The shadows lingered, but they were learning to share space with light. And as the afternoon drifted on, Lily caught a glimpse of Jessica's mother laughing wholeheartedly beside David. For once, she wasn't just spectating, she was a participant in life, embracing love while navigating pain. Waves of gratitude washed over Lily as she took a moment to sip lemonade amidst the joyful chaos. Suddenly, she felt a soft nudge at her side. It was Jessica, her innocent smile radiating pure joy. "Can we paint rocks after lunch?" she asked, wide-eyed. "Of course. Let us make them beautiful and colorful," Lily replied, her heart soaring. They gathered together, adults and kids alike, painting stones with messages of love, hope, and unity. Each brush stroke weaved into a promise of connection, of healing, a reminder they could create something splendid from their shared pain. As the sun dipped lower in the sky and painted hues of pink and gold across the canvas of dusk, the town began to sparkle anew, a symbol of redemption. Together, they carried not just laughter and festivity into their hearts but also resilience, the ability to come together, despite their differences, working hand in hand to forge a future filled with understanding. In that moment, surrounded by the laughter and tenderness that now marked community gatherings, swells of joy filled Lily's heart. Love was powerful. Unity could heal. As the final rays of sunlight slipped beneath the horizon, Lily's voice rang out with newfound confidence. "Let us keep building this community. Let us keep sharing. Together, we can face any challenge." The collective cheer that erupted felt electric, a beautiful tapestry of souls intertwined in purpose and connection, each story adding to a powerful legacy that would forever change their town. And in that simple evening, a community transformed. They understood, it wasn't just about one story, but the amplification of many. They would continue to rise together, stronger and more united than ever before. Now is the moment of truth. If you felt the emotion and inspiration in this story, you need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss more heartwarming transformations. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button to propel this video into the world. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who could use a spark of hope today. Comment below your feelings about this ending. Your voice matters in our community.